Fire Emblem 4 is an absolutely massive game. For the sake of making these videos more digestible, this will be in multiple parts. The best place to start is before the beginning. But before that, I'd like to give a massive shout out to Book of Holsety. His translation notes were a massive help in making this video. If you want to play Fire Emblem 4, his English patch, Project Naga, is the best way to play it. Check out his blog for some really interesting information about the localization of Fire Emblem 4, as well as his thoughts on some of the more controversial name changes used in Awakening. Anyways, in the grand year 611, 12 dragons made a pact with 12 crusaders, giving them holy blood and weapons to overthrow the earth dragon Lopter. The leader, Haim, was given the Book of Naga, a light tome that channels the dragon god. Balder was given the holy sword Tyrfing. Nier was given Hellswath, or Swanchika if you prefer the Japanese name. Ulir received Ufel, also known as Ichival. Bragi was given the power to cheat death with the Valkyrie staff, also known as Valkyria. Fala, Tordo, and Sed were given the animatomes Valflame, Mjolnir, and Forseti respectively. Odo was given the saber Balmung, while Hizul the Black Knight was given the demon blade Misselton. Dane was given the heaven lance Gungnir, while his sister was given the cursed lance Geibulg, which would be later used to accidentally kill her husband and brother's best friend, which would drive her to commit suicide, presumably killing herself with the same weapon. Haim and Gala were the strongest in the conflict. Their battle decided the fate of Yggdrasil. The forces of light eventually won, and Lopter was defeated. Emperor Gala XVII was acting as a host for Lopter, via corruption, thanks to the Lopter tome. Haim is likely named after Heimdall, meaning one who lights the world, often referred to as the whitest of the gods, hence the connection to light magic. Heimdall is seen as a watchful guardian and protector. He is destined to fight Loki during Ragnarok. Lopter is another name for the trickster god Loki, and is the father of Hel, Fenrir, and Jormungandr, which is where the Dark Tomes of FE4 get their names. Loki's wife was Sigyn, who is also a character in Genealogy, who possesses Lopter blood, and is the mother of Deirdre. Balder is named after the Norse god of the same name. Balder is the god of light and one of Odin's sons. His sword, Tyrfing, is also named after a Norse sword of the same name. Hizul was named after the blind god Hodor, who was tricked by Loki into killing his brother Balder. Balder was impervious to death from all except for mistletoe. Loki created an arrow out of the plant and tricked Hodor into firing it. In an alternate version of the story, Hodor killed Balder with a sword made of mistletoe, hence the name Misselton for Hizul's demon sword. Odo gets his name from Od, yet another Norse god. His sword Balmung was forged by Sigmund, a name you might be familiar with if you played Sacred Stones. His son Sigurd wielded the sword. This weapon is also known as Gram, meaning wrath. Nier doesn't seem to be named after anyone, but his weapon is a subject of controversy. There were two holy weapons that received significant changes during Awakening's development. His weapon was called Swanchika. Swanchika is likely a variation on swastika, the same one used in Nazi iconography. It's important to note that swastika is one of the most prolific ancient symbols, and many cultures have attributed different meanings to it. Germanic cultures have it associated with Thor's hammer. Please note that Germanic people likely would not have referred to this symbol as a swastika. The word swastika comes from Sanskrit, meaning self-existing. The English localization took it a different route. It was named Hellswath, and Hellswath is clearly named after Hel, the Norse interpretation of the afterlife. It's comparable to Greek Hades or Abrahamic depictions of hell. The second part of the name might come from the word swath, the aftermath of a cut from a scythe. Speaking of Thor's hammer, Tordo is a simple reference to Thor, the Norse god of thunder. A non-anglicized version of Thor is Tor. The holy weapon is called Tor Hammer. The localization chose to rename it Mjolnir, which is the name of Thor's hammer. Thunder spell for a thunder god. Really simple stuff. Ulir was a bow god in Norse mythos. The bow Ichival belonged to Odin. Ichival has been localized as Ufel, which comes from Ulir's resting place, Udalir. the Yew Valley. Vala was named after shamans known as Vulva or Vala. They were known to be female spellcasters and prophets, which is fitting for Vala. The tome she was given by the fire dragon Salamander is called Valflame. The tome is named after her, but also invokes volcanic imagery. Forseti is the wind dragon of genealogy. He's named after the Norse god of the same name, and the god of justice. Bragi is the wielder of the Valkyrie staff. He's named after the god of poetry. The Valkyrie staff is named after the Valkyries, the angels who would escort fallen warriors to Valhalla. The Valkyrie staff is named after the Valkyries, the angels who would escort fallen warriors to Valhalla, the Hall of the Dead. Dane the Dragon Knight is the wielder of Gungnir, the Heaven Lance. Gungnir is a spear wielded by Odin himself. Dane gets his name from a dwarf with the same name in Norse mythology. The last crusader is Noba. Her namesake is unclear, but her holy weapon is the only one not named after Norse folklore. The Gatebolg is an Irish weapon, wielded by the folk hero Cú Chulainn. Gatebolg was made from the bone of a sea monster. It means spear of mortal pain or gut spear. The locations and names for the actual playable characters take a lot from Celtic folklore, in addition to Greco-Roman and Norse. These are far more interesting than the Crusaders, but I felt it was important to make clear that the world of Yggdrasil is deeply rooted in Norse mythos, before it branches out into Celtic and Greek folklore later in the timeline. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 2 coming soon.